So today we're going to be looking at the Amyet V9 G60, which is a very popular e-bike that I found on Amazon. And this is a 1,000-watt hub motor e-bike with a 48-volt, 20-amp-hour battery, fat tire moped style e-bike. You know my favorite on this channel. For under $900. In fact, it's listed on Amyet's website right now for $850 with free shipping. So we're gonna see if this thing is worth it, because for that price, it seems like a really good value. So we're gonna be getting this thing out of the box and taking it for a quick test ride for my first impressions on this bike. And today we are gonna be riding safer with Amyet, whatever that means. Feel safer already. All right, now we're gonna stab myself to death with these staples that are on every one of these e-bike boxes. And I already see a brown seat peeking through. Yeah, so in here we've got the brown seat. This is how everything looks in the box, packaged nice. So we got a few boxes inside of this box. All right, so in this box right here, opening it up, it looks like we have the world's cheapest bike pump. Oh yeah, it works real well. I don't think that's pumping anything up anytime soon. Well, this is unexpected. It looks like they're actually giving us foot pegs in here. And then we've got our toolkit, which again, I'm sure is gonna be filled with absolutely high quality tools here. And it's filled with some bolts. I was gonna throw this across the room, but I'm glad I didn't, because there are some things that we need in here and I don't wanna make a mess of it. And it looks like we have pedals, of course, because everybody knows that we always pedal moped style e-bikes that can go over 30 miles an hour. And then we've got in this box, it looks like the charger. This is a 3 amp 54.6 volt charger, because this is a 48 volt bike. So I'm not gonna throw the charger on the ground. I'm actually gonna put that off to the side. And we even have free books that come with this bike. They give us two. One has this user manual, which I think is for the display. I love to see how to change things that I'm not supposed to change. And then we also have the instructions for the bicycle, and we want to make sure that we're on our pre-riding safety checklist, and we want to ensure that our tires are inflated within the recommended limits displayed on the tire sidewalls and holding air. And we want to ensure that all the wheel spokes are tight and not broken. And check the axle nuts and front wheel for quick. I should not be poking around with this nice brown seat here. The seat looks nice on this thing. Oh, here we've got the headlight. Nice, this looks like a good headlight right here. I am very ready to blind pedestrians with this headlight. And now for everybody's favorite part, watching me struggle to get this out of its box. I'm gonna try to not cut my legs open with these staples here. Oh my God. Oh, geez. Oh, well, that was easy. Oh shoot, there's still something in here. By something, I mean the mag wheels. We've got mag wheels on this bike, so that's cool, because they're stronger than spoke wheels, and they look nicer too, I think. Oh man, these tires are very empty. Now we get the battery out. Fuck. Sorry guys, we got it back up. And the battery was turned on in shipping, so that's not good. So I'm always reminded that the battery is locked on the frame. And it is a 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery, so let's get this thing charged up. Now we'll get all of these zip ties off. Handlebars are on. Now I just gotta connect all these wires here that look kind of important. And we've got our screen here. Wheel is on. It sounds like the brakes are rubbing a little bit. The brakes actually feel pretty good for being mechanical brakes. That's one thing that I forgot about this bike, is it's got 160 millimeter mechanical brakes. And of course we want to ensure that we thoroughly read this warning sticker here. I hate when stickers don't come off all the way. All right, let's get these pedals on, I guess, so that we can have somewhere to put our feet. And they are just standard pedals, no folding or anything. They're just standard bike pedals that you can use to not pedal your electric motorcycle e-bike thing. All right, let's see what this headlight's all about. All right, so I'm 5'9", and this is how I look on this thing. It's actually kind of tall, I'm surprised. Usually I can flat foot these bikes even at 5'9", but I'm kind of on my tippy toes here. But I like the riding position. I have the handlebars kind of back more. So far it seems like a good riding position. I think you could put someone else on the back here. There are foot pegs like we saw, so we're gonna try that out. If you're bigger than me, it's gonna be kind of tough getting two people on here. It's gonna be a little crowded, and you're definitely not gonna be pedaling on this thing. This is how my pedal stroke looks here in a comfortable position. We have the mag wheels, front and rear compass, 30 TPI wire bead 2x3. So that's a lot of words on that tire, so it must be good. But you know, it's a 20x4 inch knobby fat tire. Obviously we've got our headlight and our horn, which we'll test out here in a second when we turn the bike on. We have our 48 volt 20 amp hour battery right here. We have our forks here with no adjustments, it seems like. Down here we've got our suspension, which I haven't ridden this bike yet, but it's not very soft. We've got our pedals. I believe this is a cadence sensor on this bike. We've got a standard e-bike kickstand down here. Mechanical brakes here in the back, 160 millimeter. We've got our seat here, which is this nice brown color, and it looks like the stitching is a little messed up. We have this cool G60 branding right here. We have our built-in motor with our mag wheels here. That is what our motor says, 48 volts, 1000 watts. And then turning this bike on, we've got a really cool looking screen here. Looks like our bike is at 100% charge. We've got our rear tail light here, and it looks like one of our turn signals is actually on. So our turn signal is there. These do work as brake lights too, as you can see when I pull the brake lever. And we've got our turn signals here on the rear, our horn down here. That's a really loud horn, man. Oh my God. That's probably the loudest e-bike horn I've ever heard. So this brake here is gonna be your front brake, and you've got your headlight on off switch right here. You've got a USB port right here. Just a regular old standard USB port. We've got our plus and minus for our pedal assist. 5 pedal assist right out of the box. So when we press the button here, you can see we have our odometer, then we have our trip computer, and we have our voltage, and then it actually shows us how much power we're pulling, our wattage, which is cool. And if we hold the plus and minus, it looks like we do get into the settings menu, which I'll actually look at here in a second. So it looks like to enable our full speed limit, it's P08, and you want to set it to 100, I guess. So over here we have our 7-speed shifter, we have our quarter twist throttle here, and we have our rear brake on this side. I'm really impressed with this screen. It looks really cool. And if I forgot to mention, we have our 7 gears here and a Shimano derailleur, which is pretty standard for these bikes. So that's the G60 so far. Seems like a pretty cool bike. So let's go ahead and get this thing out on a test drive and see how it does. All right, guys, so we're riding around out here on the Amyet V9 G60. We've been riding around for a few miles now before I decided to record, but so far I really like this bike. It rides really nice, and I think for the price that this bike is gonna be really good. One thing that I did notice right off the bat, I'm gonna turn off over here on this trail and see how it does uphill, off-road. Oh yeah, plenty of power. We're going up this hill, no problem. One of the things that's nice about this display is you can actually see how many watts you're pulling. And right now I'm pulling about 1300 watts. I know you guys can't see the screen. I can barely see the screen out here in the sun with my sunglasses on especially, but we are pulling about 1300 watts up that hill. I'm assuming this is a 1300 peak watt bike. This bike's handling this off-road really nice right here. So back on some paved surface. One of the first things that I noticed on this bike is that the speedometer is not working. So I have my phone pulled up here with the bike app, and we're gonna just use that for the speedometer. Right now it's indicating about 23, 24 miles an hour. And this bike claims that it can go over 30 as far as I can remember, but I haven't been able to get it up over 30 yet. The fastest that I've seen on this bike is about 30 miles an hour. So I guess we'll have to see about that later on. But yeah, it looked like it was topping out at around 28. Just pulling over here, one of the things that I really like about this bike so far is the styling. It looks really cool, but this is actually a pretty compact bike. I don't know if it comes across on camera here, but it's kind of like squished in. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I can ride it fine, but if you're a bigger rider, you might not really be fitting too comfortably on this thing. And like I showed you guys in the garage, there is that long seat there that could fit 2 people, but you're gonna have to be relatively small in order to fit on this bike for sure. But overall, as far as the aesthetic goes, I really like how the brown seat looks with the black and everything. I like how there's this metal G60 branding right here. Overall, I'm really liking the first few miles on this bike so far. It just is a shame about the speedometer, but I'm gonna get back on the bike and we'll talk about that. The speedometer does not seem to be working on this bike, which is a shame because not only can you not see how fast you're going on the screen, but you also don't have an accurate odometer or anything or trip computer. So it's not really that big of a deal because you can just use your phone. But I did reach out to Amyet and we're gonna see what they say. Other than that, the bike works completely normally, completely fine. Just that speedometer's not working, so that kind of sucks. Super common question that I get all the time is how are these bikes off-road? And like you saw earlier, this is a good bike off-road so far. Not the most comfortable suspension. I don't think this is a dedicated off-road bike, but it's not bad for what this is. I think if you mostly use this on trails and then you used it on some off-road stuff like this, it wouldn't be a bad option. Front and rear suspension on this does seem to be a little bit firm, but it does iron out the bumps pretty nice as we're going over this grass right here. Another thing that I'm actually really impressed with on this bike is the brakes. these are actually pretty good brakes. Now they are mechanical and you do have to put a lot of input in, more so than you would with hydraulic brakes. But once you put that input in and you get them stopped, it actually stops you really quick. These are better brakes than on some bikes with hydraulic brakes that I've ridden. And if you do want to switch out to hydraulic brakes, you can obviously do that too pretty easily and pretty cheaply. I do find myself sitting pretty far back on this seat so far, so if you are going to have a passenger on here, again, you might want to be a smaller person because I'm pretty far back on this seat to be comfortable, and especially if you're going to pedal. You're probably going to have a pretty hard time pedaling this. The seat is a little bit firm too, so I think after a lot of miles on this thing, you'd probably get a little bit sore. I've actually heard other people say the same thing about this bike too. I've gone about 6 miles, and I really like this bike so far. This is an impressive bike for the amount of money. You're just getting a lot for your money. The big thing on this bike is the fact that it has mag wheels. That's cool, and that's something that you don't really see with bikes that are like 1,000 watts at this price point. Suspension is a little bit bouncy, a little bit firm, but if you want to off-road this thing, you should have no problem. The thing with hub motor bikes is you're not going to get that torque and that power that you would with like a mid-drive bike or like a dirt bike or something like that. Right now it looks like we're going about 20 miles an hour-ish on the GPS. I'm gonna put my feet up. Looks like we're going about 20 miles an hour off-road, and this thing has no problem doing it. There's nothing better than just getting on an e-bike like this and taking one of these little off-road paths here. So it looks like we've gone about 7 miles now and the battery's still reading 100%. I'm not sure that that's accurate. So I did get this bike off of Amazon for just under $900, shipped with tax and everything. And you can buy this bike off of Amyet's website for a little bit cheaper because I don't think they charge tax. So I'll leave both those links in the description and in a pinned comment here if you do want to check this bike out for yourself. But overall, my first impressions on this thing are it's really impressive for the price. I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised by the brakes. I would say the pros are the price and, you know, just the value that you're getting and the fact that you have a 1,000-watt hub motor and you get a pretty big battery. I would say probably the only con so far is the fact that I haven't been able to get this speedometer working. Overall, I mean, this is a really comfortable bike and it does really well on paved surfaces and off-road too. So if you're going to commute on something like this and you just need something that's, you know, affordable and can get you around town, I think this is a really, really good option. And don't be scared by the fact that this has cable brakes. I've been on bikes with hydraulic brakes that haven't even been this good. So let's go up this big hill right here, throttle only. Ooh. Barely got us up there. Pretty much what you'd expect from, you know, a hub motor 1,000-watt 48-volt bike like this. I was gonna go further on this bike, but it is raining a little bit now and I'm gonna get this bike home. But like I said, guys, if you do want to pick this bike up, I will leave both links in the description in the pinned comment if you do want to buy it directly from Amyet or if you do want to buy it from Amazon. I'm going to make a full review video on this bike when I get some more miles on and ride it a little bit more. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get inside before it starts pouring rain on here. If you do want to see some other reviews on other bikes, I do have other videos on this channel and I will link some here and in the description. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys in the next video.